All right, with Patrick Pizzolorusso. Did I say it right?
You did, nailed it.
Okay. Battle of LA is the short film. By the way, that's a fantastic last name you got there.
Thanks.
Fantastic.
I
Is there an
appreciate it.
origin story to it?
So there's one of two. We've looked it up, and a pizzo is like Jafar's like evil
Yeah.
villain,
Yeah.
little bit of hair just on the chin. And then Russo is red, so it might be the red beard, but also Russo could be Russian. And pizzo is a kind of Italian lace, so it also might be a mobster called the Russian lace. I don't know. I don't
Okay.
know.
I thought it would
I
just
mean,
be
it's a
like a ginger beard, like a red-headed beard.
yeah, but nobody in my family has red hair, so nor are we Russian, so
But you're Italian.
100%.
100% Italian. Okay, let's talk about Battle of LA. Great film, thriller, sci-fi, fantasy, obviously. This seemed like a big undertaking to make this film. Am I correct?
You are absolutely correct. I've made a few too much smaller, just shorts. One was I'm just gonna film one of Shakespeare's speeches because I need to make my own work, and that was super easy, just in a friend's apartment. But this was 4 days. We had model miniatures that were built. A lot of practical effects on set day of, so that took a little bit of planning. So this was the biggest thing that I've ever done. And I had a moment where we had an overnight shoot outside. I came around the corner, and once my DP had all the lights set up and everything set up, I stopped and went, I can't believe I put this together. This is huge. This is enormous. Yeah, so it was definitely a very big
Am I
undertaking.
correct to say that you're also in the film as well, right?
Yes, yeah. Yeah, I know. It's too many hats.
Too many hats? You think so?
I think so. Initially, wouldn't like to wear that many hats, but sometimes the universe forces your hand and you've got to, do it all. I didn't want to do crowdfunding, so I just worked as much as I could, like the year or two leading up to it, knowing that I was gonna do this. So it's all self-produced. And initially, I wrote it because I'm an actor first, and was just trying to get work because nobody else
Gotcha.
is, put me in
So,
anything.
so tell me about, well, it's a great tone. There's a nice tone to the film too, very
Thanks.
unique. But I want to get to the plot in a second, but I'm curious about like when you came up with this idea, where like is it first of all, it's a two-part question.
Sure.
How did you come up with this idea? Is there like a bigger story? Is there like a feature version of this?
So it is based on an actual event that happened in Los Angeles back in 1942. It's kind of the War of the Worlds of the West Coast,
Yeah.
only instead of it being a story, it's something that really happened. Something was just spotted over the skies of LA right before we got into the war, and the military was pretty trigger happy and shot at whatever this something was, probably a weather balloon. But there were rumors of we saw Japanese aircraft go down, we saw German aircraft go down, somebody saw an alien spacecraft go down, and I am a huge sci-fi fan. Grew up on all the old sci-fi like, B movies, and so I took that idea and ran with it. And practically, I thought, well, I want to have aliens, but how can I do that on a budget that cannot afford aliens? And so that's why I shrunk everything down. And like this way, we can handle and pick up the rocket and work with it. So that's the origin of where I got the idea, and then just kind of worked around it of what are these two characters gonna do? And I wanted them to be scientists. I didn't want them to be, run-of-the-mill people. I thought like we should focus on scientists right now because scientists are cool.
Yeah.
And like if you watch a lot of the old sci-fi movies, there's always a scientist that comes in and is like, "Here's what's going on." So
The
that's what.
exposition kind of character, I guess, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I think if I were to expand this, and I've had this question a lot, if I were to expand this and this would be I don't even know the first act, but at least the opening of a feature, maybe. This would pick up years later with these characters' grandchildren who are adults now and find the thing that was left behind. I think the granddaughter is probably wearing it as a pendant, and it
Mhm.
suddenly comes to life. And then that means that either they're coming back or something is happening um, that would then start the chain of events for the rest of the film. I don't want to say too much because I'd love
Yeah.
for people to see it, but
Gotcha.
yeah.
All right. So the character, so you're writing this character. and you're all 100% seeing yourself playing the role, I guess, right?
Yes. Yeah, and I wrote it specifically for people. And I thought, well, I'm going to make myself the straight man. I'm not going to do, be crazy comedy. He's quirky, but he's not over the top. The three actors that are in it, we all went to college together, and so it was really easy. The day that we'd go into rehearsal, we just basically directed ourselves because we're just such good chemistry, and we've worked together so often on stage and in little short things here and there,
Yeah.
that I knew I was writing for each one. And when they said the lines, I'm like, you nailed it. We don't even really need to rehearse. You know exactly what these characters are because it's their voices. So it was really easy, for everybody to slip into their positions or
You
their
all had
roles.
to grow mustaches though, the males, I guess.
You know what? I mean, I definitely was like, I'm gonna grow mine and try to make something ridiculous in period.
Yeah.
But the other actor, Adam, who plays Ralph, I didn't give him much direction, and I was like, just have fun with it. In rehearsals, we played around, but I didn't give him much direction. Facial hair, and he did have a full beard, and he
Yeah.
walked on set with his mustache, and I thought, this is great. You're all in. This is perfect. You would have been fine with a beard, but this sells it, and I'm so excited.
Yeah.
So I let him because I feel like in Hollywood we're all like, I gotta keep my look.
Yeah.
I never know someone's gonna cast me off my look. It's kind of a ridiculous thing, but he went for it, and I loved it.
Well, it's funny because it's a 1940s movie, and he feels like he's fit for this era. Like he looks
Absolutely,
like a World War II lieutenant or something. Like
he
his vibe.
does.
You know what I mean? Like he
Yeah.
feels like he's part of this. He's from this time.
I'm gonna let him know that he embodied it so well.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was fantastic in it.
And the girl's fan, she's great. Like
Yeah,
she's really great. It's not
she.
an easy role. Like
It's not an easy role.
tone wise, it's like she's got to be grounded, but
Mhm.
it's still a little bit fluffy, if that makes sense. I don't know if that makes
Yeah, there's this very youthful
yeah,
curiosity that can be, if you play too youthful and too bubbly, it doesn't work. If you
yeah,
can't go over the top, and that was something on set. The three of us kept asking, our crew. My DP was amazing. Are we over the top? Are we going over the top? Because and when the camera's rolling, we're just doing it. You don't really know, and we need this feedback. And they're like, no, no, through the camera, you're perfect. Don't go anymore. But
yeah.
you're at that line right now, which is good because it's so easy, especially for her, to just blow it out of the water.
And there's like a nice sexual chemistry between you guys.
You think so?
Well, I don't know if you did it, you framed it on purpose, but you got the big rocket in the middle between you guys, right?
All right. So that wasn't intentional, but okay. Now that's all I'm gonna see when I
Yeah.
watch this.
Because that's he must be, yeah, a part of his anatomy must be in the air as well when he's next to her. So
Oh, interesting.
yeah.
Interesting.
But
All
that's me,
right.
that perverted maybe. I don't
Hey,
know, but
no,
that's
that's
what I,
okay. I mean, everybody's gonna bring
yeah,
their own stuff into it, so
yeah.
that's great.
Because he's trying to impress her and like, he likes her, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah,
is that
yeah.
how you played it?
It's
Or
it's not, but I love that this is your take on it.
okay.
My play was, and the point behind is that they're just friends. Like they can
Oh
just
no.
be friends on film, and they're more excited about what this thing is
Yeah.
than each other. So the goal wasn't, oh, they're gonna hook up afterwards or something like
Yeah.
that. It was just more of genuine scientific curiosity.
Oh, I thought everything that was all euphemism for them hooking up. But
No, no, but the fact that you read into it, that's amazing. That's the beauty of film and art is that you'll watch it and have a completely different takeaway. I love that.
well, maybe because I'm like maybe I like romance and like I'm a sucker for like and it's like anytime you see a male and a female character, it's like if they're gonna hook up and like yeah, I'm a sucker for that. So
There's nothing wrong with that.
even though this is what I technically do, this is what I do for a living, and I watch all these films, but maybe you caught me in my own issues.
No, it's okay.
Um, but black and white. Obviously,
Yeah,
you're in this time, but sure, did you always want to shoot it in black and white?
that's a really good question. Initially, I sat down with my DP and said, I would love to see if we could replicate Technicolor. You think back of War of the
Yeah,
Worlds, you think back at a lot of the stuff of the time period, and those colors really popped, and this is a film from this time period. And so that was the initial idea. That's really hard to do. That would take an insane amount of planning. The colors need to be really bold. but the set would need to be painted. Everything would need to pop because you can kind of in post, but our point was to do everything practically, and so everything would have had to be those bold colors on set, and
Is he like Wizard of Oz style, kind of
ki-
like, yeah,
kind of like that.
okay,
Yeah, I mean those colors are so rich and so in your face. And so we thought, well, they were still doing black and white in the 40s. A lot of those B movies were black and white, mainly for budget reasons.
sure.
And so let's do black and white. And black and white also affords us the ability to hide a lot of things. So if there's anything that's even mildly modern in the background, you're not going to see it because the it'll fade into the shadows. So black and white was it was on the table. Initially wanted crazy Technicolor, it just wasn't possible on my budget. So we opted for black and white, which I think works with the look of it and the vibe. I think it's like I'm really happy with it.
No, I think it's great, and
Yeah.
I love black and white, by the way. So,
Nice.
but okay, so but when you're shooting it, you guys
Mhm.
are like, are you shooting it in like so? Are you changing it to black and white in post?
Yes. So we
Okay,
shot in color. And so
yeah,
we were pretty uh, conscious of colors that we're wearing. So we wanted to make sure. So there was a lot of test footage beforehand. What do our costumes look like? So this way they're going to at least look different on in black and white. It's not all just going to be gray or whatever. We need to make sure that there were nice, different, subtle tones. For example, Lauren, who plays Sylvie, she looks like a carrot in color. She's wearing a bright orange top and then bright green pants. And like she showed me, I'm like, you definitely look like a carrot. But when you switch it to black and white, it's
yeah.
great. It's great. You don't even realize what's going on. Um, the vest that my character is wearing is a bright green vest, but when you switch it to black and white, it's a different color than her pants, and it's kind of muted, but it's still we get enough contrast that it's just not grayscale, you know?
So, but at the same time, you're shooting like your DP shooting it, knowing that he's going to switch back. He's going to switch
Mhm.
it. So I don't know, like I'm sure there's a certain style because it's really nicely shot. Like
Oh, that's
it's
good.
like
Yeah,
for
he's
it's
amazing.
yeah. And so how did you guys set up the, because it's really like in that one spot, that one space, right?
Sure.
So did you guys like, how did you kind of set up like you said that like you guys didn't do much rehearsal. Was there a lot of like preparation in terms of your shot list or any storyboards? I'm just curious.
We did have storyboards. Storyboards kind of come in handy sometimes to just kind of get
Yeah.
the idea across, but storyboards on set are not anything that like you can stick to because things are always going to change. We did do a decent amount of rehearsals in person just to get the staging right because we knew we don't have a lot of time, so we just got to go in. Let's make sure we're on it and we can go get out. Because of course it's a low budget short, so we had very minimal time. And so we did a decent amount of rehearsal beforehand. Again, we're all really good friends, so it was kind of easy to like, let's just pop over someone's apartment. And the fact that it just takes place really in one location
Yeah.
made rehearsals really easy. Shot list also change day of, especially when you're running out of time. And when you get there, you realize that we need to frame things a little bit differently. There's also some stuff that you can do in post, and you can reframe shots, which was like a colorist did a couple reframing
Yeah.
of shots here and there. But for the most part, it went pretty smooth. We definitely had to cut the shot list a lot. I feel like sometimes you're a little over eager and just want to shoot everything, but then you
Yeah.
realize you're running out of time. So it was let's get what we need to tell the story. We don't need to be fancy with anything extra. We just need to tell the story.
100%. And like they're
Yeah.
together, they're units. So you're framing it. They're always in the same, like kept the, like in that one sequence where they're in close-ups,
Hmm.
but they're in frame the whole time, right? They're
Yeah.
together. So it's almost easier to shoot. Well, it is easier to shoot because you're not going back and forth, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
yeah,
That helped us a whole lot. I think the hardest stuff was on my DP. He goes, how am I going to make it look interesting when it all takes place around a table and it's just a two shot? I wanted to make sure that we weren't just talking heads around a table
yeah,
and talking with him and plotting stuff out. Like he did a really good job of making it active and it's not just two people talking to each other. There's a little bit more tension and there's a nice build to it. So like I mean I'll say this forever. My DP paints beautiful pictures with the camera. I've worked with him a couple times and he's just really good. So I had every um, confidence that what he was getting was going to be exactly what we need.
And can you want to say that their name?
Oh, Rodolphe Portier.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. Rodolphe Portier. He also goes by Ro or Rod Portier. He's very French, and he's amazing, extremely talented. And yeah, I mean, I'll work with him on everything. If I have the ability to do so, I will always work with Ro. He's also the first person I brought on board, and I made sure that everybody I spoke to was aligned with the look, the tone, the feel, the vision of what we're going for, because it's really specific. And so we needed to make sure that everybody was on board. And when I pitched it to him, he's like, "Let's do this. Let's do this. Model miniatures. Let's do this. I'd love to film some model miniatures. Let's do black and white. Let's yeah." He was on board 100%. Yeah.
So, in terms of like the rocket ship itself
Mhm.
is kind of a character. Well, it
Yeah.
is a character. Where did you design the rocket ship? Where did the rocket ship come from?
I built it. It went through a couple different iterations. The first couple failed miserably and just fell apart. And I finally bought like one of those model rockets that you send up like in high school science
Yeah,
class, and then modified it heavily, and added a whole bunch of little things on it. I know that they call them greeblies. If you were like a Star Wars nerd and
yeah,
you're looking at the ships on there, all the little stuff that's on the Millennium Falcon, they're called greeblies. So I stuck a whole bunch of stuff on there to make it look a little bit more functional, and a little bit more real as opposed to just a slick rocket. And then put a whole bunch of lights in it. I wired it to light up and blink and do all these things. So this way, this way it becomes more of a character than just a static prop that's there.
yeah.
So most of my nights leading up to it was prop building and designing, because how else are you going to save money but just do it yourself?
Yeah, but it's great. It's a great like it works for that time, right? Like
Yeah.
it can't be super sophisticated because it's
No, not at all.
19. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. I mean, like I looked at a lot of the old films. You can't see it anymore in War of the Worlds because the film was degraded so much. And I use that one a lot as a reference because that's the one that most people know. But
yeah.
those Martian aircraft, when it first came out, you could see the strings holding them up, and there was like a little bit of a bounce here and there. And I love that in those old movies because we know it's not real.
Yeah.
Like you're not fooling anybody. So if it's not perfect, it's okay. Let's try to make it as perfect as we can. And if there's some flaws here and there, that just adds to the flavor of the film. So, yeah,
Gotcha. And then so talk to me about post-production. So, okay, so you're acting, you're in every scene, and then you're directing it as well. Are you watching when you're on set? Are you watching your scenes, or are
a
you
little
just
bit.
waiting for the shoot to be over?
A little bit. I would go check a little bit, but I trusted my DP. I trusted the eyes that I had on the camera. There were just a few times that I was like, are we over the top? Do we need this shot?
Yeah,
Do we need to, is this framed right? There was definitely a lot of conversations between myself and the DP about stuff like that. And I know on the last 2 days we started cutting the shot list heavily and adjusting the shots because some of them were unnecessary. But as far as performance, well, I had a really good supportive team around me, which is dear, dear friends who did a lot of favors for me,
mhm,
who I trust their eye, and if something was off, they would have come forward. Thankfully, I don't think anything was off. Of course, I'll go through and go, I should have done this or I should have done that, but it's fine. So yeah, and then post production, it took about 9 months, mainly because I was waiting for specific people that I wanted to work with, and I wanted it done right. So I got an amazing editor. His name is Ken Ramos. I'll name names. It's great. And he got it when I pitched him the idea. He's like, I love this. I love this style. I love the story. I love the idea of some sort of hope at the end that there's a promise of something. And he really dug the vibe. So I was really happy that he was on board because I was a little. You're always like nervous when you pitch it to somebody.
yeah.
Are they going to think I'm crazy or are they going to do it? And then my colorist worked absolute wonders. Even though it's built in black and white, you still need to make sure the tone is correct and some of the grading and stuff like that. And then we worked pretty heavily with sound to try to emulate it's not quite a drive-in sound like, but that if you've ever been to a drive-in, there's a kind of an echo
Yeah.
that you hear. In a theater, it definitely shows up on your screen on your computer. It's obviously it's not going to be the same, but we definitely worked a lot with sound to try to emulate some of those older film sounds.
Yeah, that's what I want to talk about. It's a great sound mix.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's amazing. Yeah.
yeah. And even in your credits too, it's a little bit, I don't know, did you do that on purpose? You kind of made it like filmy?
Yeah, there's a little flicker to the whole
Yeah,
film. There's a very subtle
yeah.
flicker, and when my colorist added it, I was like, yeah, that's perfect. It's really subtle, and you only see it. I think you only see it in more static shots, and your eye gets used to the frame, and then you pick up on it. But you definitely get used to, or you see it in the credits because it's just black with white writing. Yeah.
Gotcha. So it's doing well and it just started in your festival circuit, but seems to be doing
Yeah.
well.
It is doing well. I mean, you guys, amazing. Thank you so much. We just got done here in Los Angeles. We just got done with the Pasadena International Film Festival where we were
That's good.
nominated. Yeah, oh, such a great festival. So much fun to just like actually be there. I'm trying to go to as many as I can, but it's hard.
Yeah.
But we were nominated for Best Film, and I'm like thrilled that we were nominated because the other four that were in our category were phenomenal films, like solid sci-fi films. And I thought, well, if we're up against them, we did something right, you know?
Yeah. No, it's a real, no, honestly, I watch a lot of films, obviously, and it's a really solid film because, like I said, we were talking about it again, is that tone-wise, not an easy film to make, right?
No.
Like, because I see a lot of films that try this style and
Hmm.
it's like, it doesn't work, right? Because it's like, it's the performances. Like I said, they got to be grounded, but they got to be a little bit, it's that balance, right? That you
Hmm.
referenced before. And it's so hard to do. And I know sometimes you can get a lot of takes and you kind of put it all together, right? But I'm looking at your film and it seems like there's a lot of long shots going on.
Yeah. Yeah. I appreciate hearing that because
Yeah,
I mean you send it out into the world and a lot of festivals you don't get any feedback. It was amazing getting feedback from you guys. I shared the video right away to my creatives and my cast and crew, and I'm like, they got it, they got it. People are getting it because that's the fear. Did we go too far?
yeah,
Did we not get the tone? We had a very specific conversation of we're not going to pretend that this is like found footage or oh we found this film from the 40s.
yeah,
You know we just made this. We're not going to pretend that we didn't just make it. We just want to emulate
yeah.
and kind of like our love letter to those. And people are getting it. So that's
I want
great.
to see a sequel actually, or a
You know
bigger
what?
version.
Several people have been like, and now what happens? I'm like,
Yeah,
okay, well then I think we did something right.
yeah.
If your brain is going, I want to know what's next.
Because 42 is such an interesting time, right?
Mhm.
Because he's probably gonna go to war, probably, right?
Probably.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you think about it, right?
Um,
So in some sort of scientific capacity, probably.
Something. I mean, her too. More than likely, she would help out in some way. I mean, it's like right before. I mean, we're on the eve of war right when this happens. And in fact, a week before the actual events happened, California coast was bombed by a Japanese submarine, which is why everybody was on edge and why they started shooting up into the sky.
Yeah,
So yeah, they all probably would have joined the war effort in some way. And then who knows where that will lead.
exactly. But then, yeah, it's great, and like I said, you don't want to give away the ending, but it's a nice payoff.
Thanks. Thank you.
There's a nice payoff to it. How did you do it?
That is the only thing. So I wanted all practical effects,
Yeah.
no CGI, nothing like that. That is super old school. Just film the rocket on a green screen,
Okay.
and then masked it over a light bulb slowly being pulled up.
Gotcha.
Yeah. And my editor Ken did an amazing job of making that look as real as you can make a rocket ship look.
So you're originally from New York City, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
And you live in
Yeah.
Los Angeles now.
Yes.
How long you been in Los Angeles for?
This is our ninth year.
So I'm assuming you have a partner or
Yes, yeah. So initially, I'm New York is my home, and I was happy to stay there. But
yeah,
my wife was really tired of snow and the winter, and they've been getting worse and worse. So we were like, all right, I guess we got to move, or we're gonna move. And Los Angeles has really nice weather, and we have a really good friend base here. A lot of us, like we have a lot of friends that were here already.
Okay.
So we thought Los Angeles would be easiest because we have some people to help us transition to living in LA and
Yeah.
help us out a little bit. So
Is your wife from New York as well?
yeah, both of
She
us.
didn't like the snow? What kind of I know I was about to take a shot at her, but yeah,
I mean,
okay.
I love the snow, especially in the city. It's not too bad.
Yeah.
But she's a teacher and she was driving to school
Oh,
because it was
okay.
just easier to drive and take the subway. And she's like, I can't do this anymore. And I can't dig out the car and I can't hunt for a parking spot. And she's like, I hate walking down the street and walking into a surprise puddle. I'm like, yeah, that's gross. I
Yeah.
get it. So yeah, so we gave up snow for sunshine and earthquakes. That's okay.
72 degrees every day, right?
Yeah,
So,
I can't complain really.
but
Um,
you guys are okay with the fires that occurred?
yeah, I mean everybody was on edge, and our car was packed, ready to go. But thankfully it didn't hit us. We had a lot of ash, really bad air, but it didn't affect us. It definitely affected a lot of our friends that we've been trying to help as much as we can because I mean, it is a lot of devastation, and people just lost homes. We are so fortunate to be in a little pocket that the fires just sort of danced around. Thankfully.
So you're looking at your website, it said
Mhm.
that you're still looking for the right, or your Instagram, it says that you're still looking for the right pizza. You're looking for pizza in
Yeah.
Los Angeles.
Always, because I mean there is good pizza here, but coming from New York, I'm gonna be the pizza snob. I'm sorry, people are probably gonna hate me, but I'm gonna be a pizza snob and say that New York pizza is just better than LA pizza. But
Sure.
we have found a few here that are pretty good.
Yeah.
So we're always if somebody's like, hey, let's go get pizza. I found a new place. I'm your guy that is up for pizza at any time.
What about bagels? Are you a bagel eater?
I am not as serious about my bagels as I am about pizza.
Pizza, okay. So if I'm in
Yeah.
New York City, right, where do I go for, if I'm in Manhattan, I'll be
Okay.
specific. Where do I go for pizza?
For pizza, so to be perfectly honest, you can go anywhere. The only places you should not go are any place around Times Square. Sbarro is a big
Sure.
joke. I think from The Office, I think they go to Sbarro at one point. That's like cafeteria style pizza. But if it is a hole in the wall pizza joint that I mean, it's the building is almost as or a little bit wider than the front door itself. You're good. I would almost say there's no need to go to Little Italy. Little Italy is if you're going to go for like an actual Italian meal.
Yeah.
But for pizza, I mean, you can just walk down the street. You'll smell it, but you can just walk down the street and pop into any of the little tiny mom and pop pizza places. Just know, you'll know like, oh, this is almost a chain. I shouldn't eat here.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
So one last question,
yeah, of course.
more of a comment because we talk about you in the blog interview. We asked you what film have you watched the most times in your life? Do you remember what you said?
Absolutely. Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Okay, so we're from the same generation then, and Gen
Yes.
Xers, I guess, right?
We're Gen Xers. Is that well, so what's yours? Your film?
Probably Rocky, the
Rock.
original.
All right. Oh, it's a solid film. Yeah.
Yeah,
I definitely grew up on that. Being Italian, I think we were forced to watch that and The Godfather over and over again. I don't know. But Raiders, to me, it's such a perfect film. It's just a perfect film from start to finish. Shot wise, it's really pretty. We threw in a few things from Raiders in in my film. There's a couple little tiny things in there. Some of the shots were framed to kind of emulate some of the look, even though that's in color and this is black and white. It's I know it's there, so it makes me happy. But yeah,
yeah,
that's my absolute favorite film.
gotcha.
Yeah.
If you're gonna rate the sequels, which one's the best sequel?
Uh, I would say Crusade is going to be the best sequel
Yeah,
and probably because it feels so much like the first one, and you're really back in Indy's world.
yeah.
I think that would be the second one, then Temple of Doom, and then the last two. it's a toss up between the last two. I don't hate them. I appreciate them for what they are. I know people hate them. I love what they tried to do with Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. It makes sense. You're setting it in the 50s. Who's the
Yeah.
bad guy in the 50s? Yeah, the Russians. I think it just sort of went off the rails in a couple places. And that's an example of way too much CGI when the original films were rooted in more practical stuff. And you can see the difference in styles. I think that's one of the reasons why people kind of go, "Oh, that one's not that great,"
But
you know?
isn't it weird that they even made those in the last two movies? It's like I thought the last one, I thought the Temple, like the Last Crusade, was just like I know they're making money and they like to working
Yeah.
together and stuff, so it's probably more than just money. I'm sure I think that he really wanted Harrison Ford really wanted to make
Yeah.
another one.
I think
But
it's his favorite character. He said it. He
yeah, he
loves it.
said it. Yeah, he said it. He really wanted
Yeah.
to make another one, but it's just a long time, right? So
It is, and the end of Crusade, if you remember it, I mean, they
he
honestly
wrapped
go
it
off
up.
into the sunset.
Yeah.
It's a perfect ending for a franchise. I'm always happy for more indie stories. I'm playing The Great Circle right now. It's a pretty awesome game. And it feels like a movie. It actually feels pretty great. But why they made them, I'm like, did
Well,
we
I
need
understand why
them?
they made the fourth one because they were
Yeah.
setting up the son, right? Shia
Yep.
to be the next thing,
Yeah.
right? And I guess it didn't work out, but
Yeah.
didn't he kind of trash the film after when it came
He
out?
did. He started trash talking Spielberg, his own performance, the film itself, and I was like, do you shoot the
Does
stuff on
he
the
have
foot
a
like that?
publicist or like, well, how does that even occur?
I don't know who
Yeah.
was like, stop, stop. Nobody told him to
It's like
stop. So
he's like the Godfather. He's on the Mount Rushmore of the industry,
yeah,
Spielberg.
I know. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what that was all about. But Shia LaBeouf definitely trashed it big time. So he's not in the new one. Spoiler
Yeah.
alert for anybody who's seen it, hasn't seen it. It's been out for a while. You should see
He
it.
could have got another franchise.
Yeah, I know, right?
But then again, I'm sure he's not hurting for money, but you know what I mean? But
Yeah, I
anyways,
know,
but
but he could have taken up the whip, but he didn't.
yeah. But yeah, it's interesting. But like I gotta watch I'm gonna watch it actually. I haven't seen these movies in over a decade. So
Yeah,
you're getting me interested in like rewatching it. Because I'm old enough to I've seen them I saw them at the theater, right? So
yeah.
how old I am. But I think I was seven when the first, or maybe five or six when the first one came out.
Let's
But that
see.
was a different time. They don't. I have a 6 year old. My 6 year old wouldn't be going to movies like that. But I guess I did.
Yeah,
Right? So
I think we're about the same age because
yeah,
for me too. Yeah, I was somewhere around there, and my
yeah,
parents brought me to this film when I was a
yeah.
kid. This is
And the second
ridiculous.
one, I remember being like with my sisters.
Oof.
My sisters were freaking out. The second one when they got the brain and everything. It's like,
Oh
holy
yeah.
wow, that's pretty intense.
My parents, I guess, had the foresight to not go to the theater with that. I
Yeah.
wasn't allowed to see that one until I was a little bit older.
Okay.
But I was like, you let me watch somebody's face get melted,
Yeah.
but I can't see this. All right, whatever. I'm a kid. What am I gonna do?
Yeah. I
Yeah.
want to see that movie again because I think that I remember thinking it was like they're kind of making fun of them in a way, like the culture, but I don't know. But
I think in hindsight, there's a bit you were
would it
like,
get canceled today if it came out?
it's a tough call. I don't
Yeah.
know. I don't know. It's definitely a much darker film than the others, but I don't know if it would get canceled. Yeah, there might be a little bit of. I think did we cross the line? Are we making fun of people's
Because they're making
culture
fun of the
here?
food, right? I remember that scene, right? Where like
Yeah.
they don't eat the food and they're like even they're like trying to and even Indies like don't what are you doing? This is
Oh
their
yeah, he says
yeah.
like this is more food than they get in a week
Yeah.
or something,
It's
and
like
I'm
they're
like,
eating the spider monkey head or whatever like that, right? So
yeah.
it was kind of like I don't even know if they even do that. Like it
Oh,
seems
that's right. And the snakes that come out of the big snake. I'm like, is this
yeah.
a real thing?
Yeah, exactly.
Uh,
And then
yeah.
then it's the white savior movie, right?
Oh, big time.
Yeah. He
Big
pops out
time.
of the air. He literally pops out of the air
Pops
and is
out
like,
of
I'm
the
gonna
air.
save you guys.
Yeah. That's a bit too on the nose. That's why I think I like the first one so much because it's not that. He's just
Yeah,
got to do this thing, you know?
yeah,
Reluctantly
exactly.
has to do this thing.
And the
So,
third one is like 1980, like it's a decade of action movies.
mhm.
Because I remember the first one was like huge beginning, 20 minutes of fun, and then it's like they have a conversation for like a half hour, and then he goes out on his adventure. And the
Yeah.
last one was like nonstop action, right? So
Let's just go. Yeah,
yeah, yeah, like he's got the pedal to the metal the whole time, right? So,
for sure.
anyways, keep making movies. This one's fantastic, and like I
Thank you
said,
so
you guys are a
much.
great duo. I
Thank
like I
you.
even thought that you guys should have kissed at the end just to bring it back to what I was saying.
Uh,
Yeah,
that's I love that perspective though. I
yeah,
haven't gotten that. It definitely wasn't on my mind, but I
yeah,
love hearing that because
yeah,
it's somebody else's take on it. And like once you make something, you put it out there, and now in a way it becomes yours for
yeah.
you to interpret however you like. So that's pretty cool.
All right. Well, like hope you get to make another one, and yeah, I
Let's
love it.
hope.
I appreciate it.
All right, thank you so much.
Thank you.